Yeah.
Alright killers, today I'm going to be installing these VCT solenoids for a Coyote. This is the part number M-6297-M50A. I believe these are the GT350 spec. I'm not exactly sure, but there's not very many videos of an install, so I figured somebody out there might need a little help. And these are very, very simple. If you look right here, I don't know if you can see, there is a little on both sides. All four of them are that this way, but they're little dowels, and you know, you can see on the solenoid itself, getting them out of the bag is the hardest part of the whole job. That you have a little provision for it right there. Alright, so anyway, I figured since I'm doing such a simple job, it'd be a good time to tell a little bit of a story. And while I'm telling a story, I can explain to you what I'm doing. Squirting a little bit of oil in the bolt hole provisions, because it comes with these little keepers, and I think they're just meant for a little bit of stability for the nut, for the bolt. I'm sorry. So anyway, you know, my family kind of gives me a hard time about these, you know, messing with these modular engines. They all look at them like they're from outer space or something. And you know, I was taught, you know, building small block Chevys is just like most people were, and then, you know, of course, big block Chevys, and I dabble with the LS's, and you know, eventually I've always been into Mustangs, so naturally it was only a matter of time before I got into modular motors. But even though they give me a hard time, and I'm sure it's out of, you know, fun, kind of reminds me of a little bit of a story. This lady would cut the tail off of her steaks. You know, when she would go to put them in a pan, you have a steak, and it's usually about like that, and it you know, usually it comes down into a tail. Well, she would cut the tail off, and I asked her, I said, why do you cut the tail off of the steak, or that part of the steak off? She said, I'm not sure. I was just taught to do it that way. I said, interesting. So I guess it got her gears, you know, grinding a little bit, and she started doing some research on why. And she found out that her mom did it, and her grandmother did it, and her great-grandmother did it, and her great-great-grandmother did it. And when she started asking, you know, her relatives why it was like that and why they did it like that, well, come to find out, the reason why her great-great-grandmother would cut the tails off the steak was because she didn't have a pan big enough. So all these generations who may or may not have had the pan big enough for a steak have been wasting perfectly good meat. So basically, what the moral of the story is, don't be scared to do your own thing. Don't waste the good meat. And just because you were taught in a certain way doesn't mean it is the way.